Hi, Andre.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about missing things or people or animals, and can a psychic or psychic medium help locate these things? So I'll let you fire away, Andre.
Cool. Okay, so can you find missing people, things, animals?
It depends. Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. So it's not like a perfect science, so to speak. And I've spoken to you before about like remote viewing and finding things. So yes, I can. I have found things. So I can talk about things if you want to start off with. You want to ask me about things?
Okay, let's talk about things. Yeah.
Okay. So one of them actually was recorded on radio. It was on ZM, and I was dealing quite a bit with PJ. Can't remember the other guy that I dealt with. And I was doing this radio marathon with them. I got come in and do readings, and they decided that PJ had lost her choker, and she couldn't find it.
A choker.
A necklace choker.
Right.
And she couldn't find it. She was quite stressed about it, and she went to her apartment to find it. And I actually helped her find it.
Wow. Cool.
So there's a process involved in that.
Yeah, and what was that process?
The process. So I remember I'd just been to the gym. And I thought to myself, the main thing, as I've talked about quite often with psychic and mediumship, where you've got to keep your head out of it, your thinking side of things out of it.
Yeah.
And I just had to allow the process to come through. So they phoned me up, but I'd already sort of allowed the process to start happening. So the first thing I saw was a bedroom, and all I knew was something to do with a bedroom, because all I could see was a bed in a bedroom. So I tried not to analyse that. So it gave me a starting point. And then they phoned me and they said, so what can you tell us? This was live on radio. It wasn't recorded.
Not much pressure then?
No. And so I went back to them and said, I see a double bed, I see a bedroom. And she said, I'm in the bedroom. And I must admit, my mind could have kicked in then, because I saw the bed. I could have thought, is it under the bed? That was a logical thing to think. I thought, I'll just wait, because I've talked a lot about communicating with spirit through your senses, and there's a bit of a delay in it. And I thought I'd just wait to see what else happened. So I was patient and power the pause, and I waited. Yep. And then I knew it was in the bedroom. Then I really felt I wanted to go to the left. So I'm facing the bed, I wanted to go to the left. And I said, you've got to walk in wardrobe. And she said, I do. I said, I want to go into the wardrobe. And then I talk about my senses. I heard the word wood. And I said, in your wardrobe, there's wood. And she goes, yes. And I'm hearing shelves. And she said, yes, I've got wooden shelves. I said, okay, so you need to get a chair, because I've been taken to the top shelf, the wooden shelf, and it's just there on the left. You know what? She found her necklace choker. It was unbelievable. Wow. Yeah.
Crazy. And so, who's this voice coming from? Is it like one of her ancestors or like one of her past friends? Like, where's this voice coming from?
I would say it would be actually my spirit team, my spirit guides.
Okay.
So we can talk about guides another time, but I think it's the people that work with me. They're very clever.
Kind of like your fairy godmother.
Yeah, sort of. I suppose you could call it. That's actually something that's different again, like guides is a different thing.
Yeah.
I guess. And also, I think they're directing me, but also I think that Bernard talked about the previous podcast. He touched on consciousness, and I talked about Sampani, and I believe that the guides work with me, the spirit will work with me, because my consciousness went into her place.
Oh, right.
So my consciousness went into her bedroom.
Yeah.
And I was shown where to go.
Wow.
Yeah, so I believe that's how they work with me, and that's how I found it. And recently I was doing a clearing, and it was to do with a shop that was opening in Arewa.
A clearing? What's a clearing?
That's going to be another podcast.
Okay.
And it takes a lot out of me, but I did a clearing and a blessing. So it's just that there's residual energy from anywhere in any house, and I can pick up a lot of energy from buildings, and very interesting buildings. So I'd love to do a podcast about that.
Yeah, awesome.
So in the middle of doing this, I was trying to focus on doing this clearing, but one of the ladies that worked there, they were having a sale on the next day, and I think she could take some or buy some stock, whatever, for herself. So she was going through everything.
Okay.
And she got quite upset because she couldn't find her cardigan. And she came up and said, where is my cardigan? And so, of course, your logical mind kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, at first I thought, why is she asking me? And I looked for it, was looking, and then I said, are you asking me because of my gift? And she said, yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I'm just going to put my thoughts aside. I'll just power the pause. I'll just let it go. And then all I heard was water. And I said, it's not near the water. It's by the water, which is, there was like a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, one of the other people found it just about within a metre of the tap of the water.
Wow.
And she'd buried it under her other clothes. And there it was.
Yeah.
And all I got was one word, was water.
Water. It gave them somewhere to search around.
Yeah. Okay. So I
Okay.
think you've got to be really cautious that you don't go with too much information, like trying to work it out. I've also found missing animals, and I can tell you about my friend. I helped her find her dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, missing animals is a really emotional thing, right? When you feel like you've lost your dog or cat or bird or whatever.
Yeah, I helped her. Actually,
so-
recently, also, my daughter lost her cat, and I remember she said to me, even though she's not into this stuff, she said, you can find it. And my sense was the cat was over the fence, and I tried to keep my head out of it, and I had to sense that it was on this big fence.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I articulated it, but I knew that I felt that.
Right.
In fact, even Snowy, your cat, I didn't know where she was, but you should come back. Remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember we were walking around the streets calling her name for a few hours, and we thought she'd gone, but
And I said, no, she's coming back.
yeah, she came back.
Yes, she did. So with my friend, an elderly lady, she had a mobility scooter, and she lost her dog.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's so kind, this lady. She's so kind. And I got so much, she was out in the middle of the night in a storm trying to find her dog.
Oh,
It
no.
was amazing. So, but she's an amazing person. Sad for her.
Mm.
And all I got was Countdown. I got Countdown, and I got the name of one of his sons. And she goes, that means that the dog's gone north. So then I said, I want to go towards that area. And then I saw this dairy, and it had red signs, and I felt it was quite a steep road. It was up there. And she went up there, and she found her dog.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a series of things that I gave her, like that I gave her. We found the dog, though. The dog came back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a lovely story.
Yeah.
It's very hard when it's missing people, though.
Okay, and what's the difference with missing people?
Because with missing people, it's life or death.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, and I'm very, very mindful about giving people false hope.
Mm.
And I'm also very mindful about giving them bad news as well. Mm-hmm. But there was a girl that went missing last year, and the information I gave them was quite relevant.
Okay.
So
Is this in New Zealand?
yeah, it was in New Zealand, and it was that all I got was lollies, and I got buying lollies, and that made sense. And I saw like Pack and Save or something like that. I got an image of Pack and Save of her lollies, and apparently they tracked her with her credit card that she had been buying something from various supermarkets, so they knew that she was alive.
Yeah.
And I got that, and I don't want to get too personal, but I picked up in her mental state. But one thing. Often it's the next day. It's not always, you can stress about it and you can't find people. But all I got was, you're going to find her in a meadow somewhere. And they found a meadowbank.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was so cryptic but so accurate.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting when you say with people with the life and death thing.
Yeah.
So I have I've had an experience of trying to find a missing person.
Yes.
And it was in an aircraft.
Yeah.
And so we're flying over near the Cook Islands, that sort of part of the Pacific, and it was we're looking for someone that had gone overboard like a few hours beforehand, and we're searching and searching and searching, and the whole crew, we're all looking on this mission, and it was quite upbeat because we're going to essentially find someone and save them, right? But then it dragged on, and then the mission turned into no longer looking for a person. It was at some point it changed into finding a body,
Oh.
and the whole thing changed. There's so much emotion. I mean, obviously this isn't a psychic thing. It's
Yeah,
quite different,
yeah.
but I understand when you're saying with people, it is life and death, and it's, you know, it's a massive emotion that comes with that.
Oh, it's awful. It's
Yeah.
quite scary. There was a situation where somebody had died, but the family had this hope that they'll be alive, and they paid me, and I went to find them. It was up north, and he'd actually said to me, I didn't know my limits, and I knew that he'd gone.
Yeah.
And where I went was, I wanted to go to the left. I knew I had to go to the left, and I stopped at a certain place, and I felt I couldn't breathe. And they said that's where he jumped in. So he jumped in off a dinghy, and he had a leather jacket on to save an oar.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But they had this hope, and then I went further, and I got to this point, and I said, I can't go anymore. And I really felt that he had died, but the people didn't want to accept it. And then it's happened to me before with missing people, and they started putting all this stuff on my head, and my head got in the way, and I got really mixed up.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me with a young boy that I talk about in my book, and it was a young boy that was 3. And I had it 100%. I saw this big round, like one of those big pipes, huge pipe. I saw a slope that went down. I saw a river, and I saw a boy with a bike. And the police said to me that was the last place I'd seen him.
Yeah.
And I said, you're going to find him 9 days upstream, 500 metres up, and they did. But what happened in the meantime was all these psychics got on board, and they messed my head. Yeah, and so I've really learnt that I'd rather, when I'm dealing with missing people, I'd rather only want to deal, I think I said that to you recently, I'd only want to deal with a family or somebody that knows that person. I don't want to talk to outsiders. There was a lady that went missing in Torbay, and it was, everybody's out looking for her, but everybody told me what other psychics had said, and it's such a delicate thing.
Yeah, right.
It's we're dealing with life and death, and I think it's really important. For me, I would only ever do it if I was dealing with the family, someone that knew them one-on-one, and give the information. And like I say, when I'm doing readings or a demonstration, I'm not looking for information. I'm looking for confirmation.
Right.
So getting the confirmation that I'm on the right track, so to speak.
Yeah. Right. I imagine that's extremely difficult as well, because the human inside you wants to believe that in all these cases that there is a life at the end of it, a living person, right? And so it must be extremely difficult, I'd imagine, to separate the human instinct and the psychic instinct in that situation.
Exactly. So I actually I won't call life or death when it comes to dealing with people in the here and now, or even animals. But I did actually help my friend find an animal, and I said to my friend, this is a friend recently, and I said, the cat's going to come back because it's hungry. Because all I heard was hungry and thirsty, and the cat turned up at dinner time.
Yeah.
So I knew that the cat was still alive.
Yeah, interesting.
But there was another one recently. I felt my head felt really sore, and I thought, and I got hip removing, and I knew something happened.
Yeah. Okay. And so how does this all work?
How does this all work?
Yeah.
It all just works through, I guess, like I said, like my spirit guides. So my spirit guides are helping me. It's my consciousness, and my consciousness going into the energy. So in a way, say with a cat, I almost get their sore head, and I hear the words when they were moving. It's the same as when I'm connecting to someone from the spirit world. Even though when someone passes, they've no longer got the physical pain, but they'll give me the information. So I'll get the information, I might feel like I'm having a heart attack.
Right. So it's almost like your consciousness is transcending space and time.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, right.
It's really fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a very subtle energy. Or I did a wedding at the church recently, and I just knew this person had died with something to do with their throat. I felt really sore, like throat cancer. That was correct. So it's just giving the feelings that I'm getting. But the person in spirit's no longer got the sore throat. Or the cat is no longer suffering. But I did feel, I knew straight away it's how I get the information. It's the only way I can get it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's quite different, isn't it?
Yeah, very different. And so what about, so we talked about all these instances when you have found things or people or animals.
Yes.
But there are like millions of missing people out there.
know.
There's obviously famous cases like Madeleine McCann.
I feel so sad.
So what about these missing people that have never been discovered?
I've got a philosophy about her, and I'm not going to share it in the podcast.
Okay.
But I can say that I honestly had a dream, because I didn't know anything about her case.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very real dream, and I was actually dreaming about her, and I believe I've shown something,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't shared it with anyone.
Okay.
Because if I haven't read a book, but my daughter shared with me about her book, and apparently, and I can so see this happening, as so many psychics gave the family false hope,
Mm-hmm.
and I think set them up on down trails I didn't need to go, like down a fairy trail sort of thing. I'm so mindful of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got somebody, for instance, like giving somebody false hope or something like that, I think she spent, I don't know, believe it, I think she really got involved from what I believe, as what I've heard, and that didn't help her. The psychics didn't help her at all.
Mm-hmm.
Made things, in fact...
Is this the mother?
This is the mother, but
Yeah.
I think it can actually make things worse.
Oh, for sure. I mean, false hope is bad.
Yeah, or sending people down
And
the wrong trail.
there's time
Yeah.
and no doubt resources that could have been done on other sort of investigation.
It's just like it's so not necessary. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you've got to be so mindful,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would never volunteer
Mm-hmm.
the information that I've got unless somebody has asked me. One thing I really learned, because I did do some training,
Mm-hmm.
I'll never ever do a missing case or missing anything unless I have got the person's permission.
Right. Yeah.
And I work with anybody else, but just one-on-one with the family, and confirmation and not information.
Yeah.
And I would actually do my best.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think those are really good guiding principles.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's ethical.
I think I work very ethically, so that's how I work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I can't find my own things very well.
I was going to ask about that. So, because I'm quite often losing my own stuff, and my keys, my phone, my wallet, that sort of stuff in the house. So how does that work? Because you've got obviously your own, probably more emotionally attached, or I guess your own logical, because you've got a memory as well. So when you've lost something, it's actually stored in your memory somewhere.
Yeah.
So you'll be trying to retrace your memory, but also tie into the psychic world. Like how does that work?
I think emotionally you're really connected, and it's very difficult. I have sometimes found my own things. It was like, I've been given things like underneath something, or I've just got a sense that it's. I actually help with my own husband actually with things, so I can help him better than I can help myself. Or things have gone wrong with the boat, and I've actually told him where to go, and I've given him information for what I've been given. It's almost like finding something, or the gas wouldn't go, but I thought that there was something over there you had to look at, which is 100% correct. I sometimes can find things. At the moment, I have a missing item, and I cannot find it, but I just got given it just now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's just popped into your head?
Yes, it just popped into my head.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay.
So and also the other thing is that you can actually guess. Heard from Spirit, you can actually guess.
What do you mean by that?
Because that gets you. So if you guess, you get it wrong.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing behind it.
Yeah. Even like in the shop the other day, I got water, and she solely just asked me where her cardigan. I got so it was close to the water. When it was in that, it's a one big room, and then there's only one little room that has water in it. And then they said to me, "Oh, the tap's running in the toilet." I said, "It's nothing to do with that." They said water because that's where her.
Right.
Yeah, but you got to be very careful of guessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Leads you
really
into. So I remember growing up, there was always I think in the church, the Catholic Church,
Yes.
there was like a saint that you.
Oh, Saint Anthony.
Saint Anthony, that's right. Because I remember
Yes.
always like losing stuff. The first thing I think of was like Saint Anthony. Hey, look, I know I've been naughty this week. But bear with me. I won't do that next week if you can help me find my Game Boy.
Funny.
But yeah, that
Did
was
it work?
yeah, I think like most of the time, but whether it was just like process of elimination, me trying to find my Game Boy, whatever it was I was trying to find. But I remember it always, I'd always be asking St. Anthony for help. But before asking St. Anthony for help, I'd always let him know that yes, I haven't been the best. I haven't been saint like myself. The guilt trip.
Do you know what? I still pray to St. Anthony.
Oh right.
Yeah. So who I asked, I asked St. Anthony.
Yeah.
So what the Catholic in me, I guess, somewhere.
Yeah.
Archangel Shemuel.
Uh-huh.
And then I asked my mum
Yeah.
in spirit. And now I've got a really good auntie that was really good at finding things, so I ask her as well. And quite often I do. But it's if you overthink it, the best thing is just to, if you can't find something, put it out there, let it go and let the information come to you. And you'll get it just with one word, like I got the water, underneath something, or you'll get a feeling. Yeah, I don't. It's Sensi Murder. It was the same thing as that missing guy that went missing. I didn't know why I wanted to go left, but I wanted to go left. It's just a feeling that I got, and I found all the locations just simply by going with how I felt. There's one guy in Christchurch, and Christchurch's really flat, and the way that I found him was, we drove out, and my head hurt. And so even my head hurt, I said, turn down here, turn left, and I found where the location where he'd been murdered.
Wow.
Yeah.
So on how strong the pain was, or is that?
It was just my head.
Yeah.
So obviously it was bashed on the head, but I was my left head, side of the head, that would go to my right side. And and over in the Gold Coast, I just went up to these mountains and wanted to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's you just got to go with where you're pulled and don't overthink it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something obviously you have to tune into because, for all of those instances, there must be, your logical mind, the emotions.
Yeah, and I did train in it as well. So I trained at one point with a lady called Pom Conorado. I think she's Conorado. She's on, you can find her.
Yeah.
Pam has helped in Sensi Murder and stuff like that, I think, over in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And she works with remote viewing. In fact, she talks about that. I think she's worked with their forces.
Oh, right.
Remote viewing. And actually there's a remote viewing conference, and there was one that was held in Las Vegas. I would have loved to go to a remote viewing conference. That'd be fascinating to see other people that can do the same sort of thing, because it is a sort of a mediumship gift.
Mm-hmm.
But I can actually, with Bernard, he's been on the podcast, and with my husband John, I did actually get them to help me with some of my training with that. So Bernard was in the UK, and he found a stone, and he gave the stone to me. He said, "Can you tell me about the stone?" So I described this place, and I talked about the grass and the area and where to go, and it was Stonehenge.
Oh, wow.
And it was about the car park, and I had it 100% right.
Yeah.
And then my husband gave me a rock, and I went to this place. The main thing I got, I think, was the grass and this water, and been there before, and I knew he had this motorbike. I went on the back of his motorbike, and it's a special cafe that we went to. I think it was called the Frog Cafe or something. I got Frog, and that's where he bought it from.
Oh,
so it's a really good way to train, actually.
Yeah.
Is that so get somebody to bring something to you and ask the person, where has this come from?
Right. Okay. And so is that one of the, because I was going to say, this seems like a very useful skill to build.
Yes.
And so is this one of the ways to do it is just repetition, trying to find just simple things like a rock and where does this come from?
So pick it up and give it to someone and say, start using your senses, and then give it a go. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to laugh at you if you get it wrong. So you're just like doing a training, but they could get something right that you can actually really hone in, and you can really train that skill.
Okay.
But what Pam did is she gave us missing cases of people, and she knew the outcome.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing for me was whether they're alive or dead.
Yeah.
By looking at a photo.
Mm-hmm.
And John couldn't stand it, and it was like living with the Addams family. I just said, I don't know if this person's alive or dead. He says, I can't believe we're talking about this all the time.
Yeah.
But I actually started getting quite good at it. And what got quite scary, I started seeing the murderer
Oh, no.
of these people. And that was, and I decided to I just felt yucky. So I decided it was all a bit dark and negative, so I left it alone. But I think I did enough because I did that as a precursor to Incensi murder, and I didn't realise I'd be doing, must have been sort of training me subconsciously to do what I did in the future.
So it helps you out.
Yeah, but I've got to be in the right space and the right time. And it's like, we talk about the urgent, and we talked a bit about the philosophical way. And so you've got to really pause, and you've got to put yourself aside. You've got to take the time to actually focus and find a missing object. I found passports before. I found rings before.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm not always successful.
Right. But a lot of times you have it.
Yeah, and there was one time that I picked up where someone lost their jewellery, and I picked up it was their nephew that had stolen it and put it back.
Oh, really?
I knew that because I'd gone there previously and had been put back, but because I saw the nephew, so that was really hard because naturally the lady I was talking to got quite defensive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Which is understandable.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be really hard to like transmit that information to someone as well, because if you're wrong, you've just kind of accused a innocent person or potentially painted them in this light, and then that wasn't actually how they were. So
yeah.
But
maybe you should try it sometime. I mean, maybe just if you want to train in this, the first thing Steph I'd doing is getting someone to get a rock or a shell, or shells obviously it's come from a beach. A rock's a really good one because you've got no idea generally where it's come from.
Could be anywhere.
Yeah, and just get the person to describe what they see, what they feel, the colours they hear, all your senses. I've talked about spirit communication, and and get the person to confirm back. And but you don't guess. So you don't get the rock and say, "Oh, this has come from that place." Just ease your way into it. Start describing, like you could feel it's an old stone, or it's been around for a long time, or you feel you want to go south, you want to go north. All sorts of things. You feel there's lots of people around it. You could feel the sand around it, a beach, a river, forest, all sorts of things.
Yep. Okay. And so what's some other... So I just got distracted. There's a kingfisher bird over there.
Oh, beautiful.
It's quite beautiful.
Gorgeous.
What's some other ways that people can develop this skill?
How they can develop the skill?
Yeah.
I think it's just by trial and error. So maybe they could develop it by somebody has got something missing. Or maybe, it's a bit of hide and seek, somebody could deliberately hide something maybe and just say, okay, can you help me find this?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Or that, that's a really good way of doing it.
Right. So it's just repetition, and like with anything, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, and definitely the thing of anything I've talked about over and over again, every workshop I do, any course that anybody does to me, I always go back to the senses, whether you're working on a psychic level, which is picking up information from someone's aura or a situation, or working mediumistically, working with remote viewing with your consciousness, or dealing with spirit guides. It always comes down to what you see in your mind's eye, what you feel, what you hear, what you smell, all sorts of things.
Yeah, so it's developing your psychic senses. That's one thing, and that's the
biggest thing.
The stronger you develop your psychic senses, the more successful you'll be in doing things like remote viewing.
And putting your thinking brain out of the equation.
Right.
Don't guess.
Yeah.
And also, don't try and interpret. So just give the information. Best thing to do is just give the information.
Yeah.
Don't make it up and try to make sense of it, because once you start making sense of it, you'll get it completely wrong. Because when you put a story of it next to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, someone I know that works in this sort of work, and someone I know, they make a story up to it, and it's to keep the story out of it, just to stick to the facts. Yeah.
Easier said than done, though.
I know, because it's human nature, and it paints a picture, and it's never what you think. It's always something completely different. Yeah. So that's how you can develop.
Cool. Well, yeah. I hope more and more people can develop that skill and help me find my passport when I'm...
Have you lost it?
No, I've lost it in the past.
Oh, I see. Have I ever helped you find things?
Sorry?
Have I ever helped you?
Yeah, I think in the previous podcast we talked about the garage remote.
Oh, that's right.
That you helped me find, and no doubt there's been other things throughout the years that I'll come give you a call and say.
And I think when it comes to your children, like my daughter was worried about losing her cat, so I was.
Oh, it was the cat, obviously.
Yeah, the cat. Yes, I did, and but I sort of. I've just got to like really not buy into that person's emotion and sense of urgency. I had a situation recently. I had a call.
There's a certain like element of desperateness when you've lost something, right?
Yeah,
as well.
That's what I mean. And I had to call the police recently about a situation in a car park, and I was quite frightened, quite scared. And this lady sort of stood by me, and it was I rang 111, and. It took forever to just seemed to take forever to get my information, but what they have to get the information to get the details right. So it's exactly the same sort of thing. It's just because it seemed like forever to me, but it probably wasn't that long at all.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like to what's relevant. So you got to really I think breathing. I think the power of breathing is so important. It can really calm you down and.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And just give the information you get so you can develop it. I have taken courses on this as well. I will probably do some more because it's something I actually really enjoy. And I'd love to go to a remote viewing conference sometime, meet other people that can do the same thing.
Like an international one?
It's an international one.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if it's still happening, but it was happening.
Yeah. No doubt it will happen.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to this podcast about missing things, people, animals, all that sort of thing. I am going to be taking a spring development workshop for leadership development, and it's going to be 2 hours on a Wednesday night for over 6 weeks, and it starts on the 17th of September. You can book this through kerimarie.co.nz. You can also buy my products through there or book a reading or a healing with me as well. And to help this podcast, please like and subscribe. Blessings and love, Keri Marie.